Hello and thank you for joining us for another episode of Triangle Downtowner Magazine interviews. We're here with Eric Woodall and Elizabeth Doran from North Carolina Theater. If you guys could tell us a little bit about what you do here at North Carolina Theater and a little bit about the theater itself.
Sure. I'm Elizabeth Doran. I'm the CEO of North Carolina Theater. We've been around for, I guess, 36 years. And we produce great, big, beautiful shows in downtown Raleigh. And we also have fantastic community connectivity through our youth conservatory, where we train kids in acting, singing, dancing. We go into the schools and serve 10,000 kids in using the practical application of theater to conflict resolution. And we're proud to be part of the art scene in Raleigh.
Excellent.
And I'm the producing artistic director, and I work with Elizabeth in creating all of the programming. And I know we'll talk about it a little bit later, most likely, but we are thrilled that this current season is the first season that our company has produced 6 shows and produced them all ourselves. And our next season, we're going to be doing the same thing. And, part of our mission is to specify, I guess, our identity, and to let people know that when they come to see a show at North Carolina Theater, they're not seeing a tour. In the past, that was sometimes true. And so we have changed the amount of homegrown theater, mixing local talent with Broadway talent and creating everything. Elizabeth always says this: we are creating this for you here in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Now, why is that important to have all locally produced? Obviously, being locally produced, it keeps more money here, but also what does it do for cultivating new talent?
Well, I think it does many things, starting with the fact of, hopefully, the excitement of including people here. I think there was always an idea that North Carolina Theater maybe took a few people and stuck them in the chorus, and it couldn't be further from the truth. We only bring 12 people per show from New York. We cast the rest of the cast with local artists. Many of those local artists play leading roles. And then our orchestra, our backstage crew, many of our designers and creative team members are all from the area. So it's roughly 100 people per production that we're employing and incorporating into our shows. And when a tour comes through, I love tours, and I've cast many of them through the years, but when the tours come through, they roll in, there's no connection to the area, they do the show, they pack up, they roll out, and we're a different experience than that.
Right.
Yeah, I think that the art of theater is very ancient, and the idea of touring is relatively new in the history of theater. Theater is about a community expressing itself and answering some of its questions and playing out how things would look if we do things right and if we do things wrong. And we love the idea of responding to the questions of our community in the play selections that Eric is making, in the casting decisions he's making, and who are the teams that we put together to create art together and answer some of these questions for our North Carolina community. Although we're learning, people are coming here from New York, Florida. We keep track of everyone's zip code, We pull from 100 counties in North Carolina.
Wow.
And people travel to see some of our work. So we feel like we're having a broader impact than just the city of Raleigh, but we really like to talk to the people in Raleigh and in the Triangle about what are their dreams, fears, hopes, ambitions, questions.
Right. Well, it's been an amazing season so far. I've been a season subscriber since 2005, and I have to say this is one of the best seasons that we've ever had. Kinky Boots just finished up to rave reviews. Everybody loved it. I remember talking to Smead Jork after the show, and He had seen it in New York, and he said he could not tell the difference between what he saw there and what he saw here, which is big. That's good. So it's good for them.
Yeah.
So they're almost as good as North Carolina Theater now.
Well, it's great. It's great to feel that we are. Another thing that's very important to Elizabeth and me is that we can bring, for the people who can't get to New York, who perhaps have never been to Broadway, perhaps never will go to Broadway, that they can experience what you do get to experience when you're there in a theater space that's much larger, really, than any theater space in New York City. So we joke that sometimes it's bigger than Broadway. This Kinky Boots set was in some ways 2 times as big as it was in the Broadway theater, because their Broadway theater in the Hirschfeld, it's very intimate. So it's important to bring those experiences. We talk a lot about being bridges, and we like to be a bridge to Broadway. Mm-hmm.
And I'll throw out too that the season that we've put together has really touched ideas of belonging. What is a family? How do we be inclusive? What happens when we're not? What happens when we are? And we've begun community partnerships around our shows, which is also different from a touring experience. Mm-hmm. Our partner, for example, on Memphis, our upcoming next show, Memphis, is Shaw University. And we're talking with them through their mass communications department about the power of social influencers. We just had a partnership with St. Augustine's on having our say. And we'll continue to do that kind of work. Even in our youth program, we were partnering with Peace University. And we are excited about creating those bridges locally as well. And sometimes that services young people who have never come to the theater. And that is really thrilling for us.
It is, and I'm so proud of the work that's been done with Elizabeth's guidance and encouragement, and all of our staff. With that kind of outreach, with engagement and through the community, we are doing talkbacks now with each show that a lot of people might be familiar with talkbacks that sometimes happen with the cast, where audience members will stick around and ask questions with the cast. We don't do it that way. We're actually going a little bit deeper. So the talkbacks are including people from the community. So there are themes from each show, and then the talkback is based on that and providing different aspects and different opinions, different experiences. And that's part of, Elizabeth, you can talk about some of the all-in element of that.
Yeah, and in fact, just when we watch our Kinky Boots post-show discussion and others that I've seen, because we're not moderating it and the artists are not necessarily involved, things surface that I would never have thought of, and we get surprised. Mm-hmm. And the audience is speaking with its own community leadership, and we are witnessing that. Mm-hmm. And that is powerful, true engagement. When you release some of your power that you've amassed in whatever way to those who you're trying to bring in, then you will truly create a connectivity that will be lasting. You cannot simply say, I'm in charge, I'll curate this moment. You have to say, tell me what you think here, get on stage. Tell us what you think. And that is a little scary sometimes too, but that's how you really do this work. And yes, we have an all-in vision at North Carolina Theater that has gone all the way through the board of trustees. And in fact, I'm sure related to my hiring and Eric's hiring as well, and how to lead a company that looks toward a goal like this one, which is that North Carolina Theater will begin to reflect its demography in its audiences, artists, board members, all of its stakeholders by a date, so by 2030. And we will test ourselves in 2030 and see, did we accomplish this goal? The only way to do something like this truly is to take time and change your product on the stage. And then deepen these relationships where you are sharing power. And then we will accomplish this goal. But it's a big deal, and it's not easy, especially in the arts. The arts across the country, across the world, have moved to this very Eurocentric model of patronage. I have a patron. I do the work for I work for the king. You know, I'm the jester for the king. That's not the real heritage of theater. Theater is of the people, and so we're excited to see how we can continue the high level of artistry that Eric brings, and make sure that we are reflecting the people we are serving or hoping to serve through that work.
That's great. Tell me briefly, we've got about 2.5 minutes about the next season coming up, 2021 season.
Yes.
Just a very briefly a mention of each show and what it's about.
We begin this season with On Your Feet, which is the story of Gloria and Amelia Estevan, featuring their music. So it's in the style of a jukebox musical, but like Jersey Boys and Beautiful, it takes the music of the artist and tells the biographical story. So that's really exciting. We then are going to do an intimate piece called Lady Day at Emerson's Bar and Grill, which is a play with music that goes through the life and times of Billie Holiday. It's basically a one-woman show, but it does have 2 other characters in there. We are going to do Sister Act, which is a show that we're very excited about. I think most people are familiar with the movie, and Whoopi Goldberg is this year going over to London and doing, I think, a 2-night only sort of concert version of the musical Sister Act, which is really fun. We will not have Whoopi Goldberg.
Whoopi, come see us.
but we'll have great people. We're going to be doing 9 to 5, which is a show that talking about listening to what people want. It's a show that has rated so highly through the years when we do polls and audience members tell us what they would like to see. So, that's certainly based on the movie. It's having a real resurgence. Dolly Parton is hot right now. She always has been, but and it's currently playing in London. So it's an interesting time to look at the themes and the story of 9 to 5. But we're really looking forward to that one with how we can tell that story. Then we're doing a small piece with only 5 performers that tell the story of Johnny Cash, and that's Ring of Fire. And the performers play their own instruments and step in and out of the people in Johnny's life and telling that story. And then we end the season with Peter Pan. That is certainly an audience favorite. Has been done at North Carolina Theater a few times through the years, but it hasn't been done in over 10 years here. And it felt like the right time to bring that timeless story back.
It's all musicals.
All musicals. I would say that Lady Day is a play with music, but until I had the great fortune of directing the first play that North Carolina Theater ever did, which was Steel Magnolias. And then that was followed up with Driving Miss Daisy, which I also directed. I did not direct Wit. There had been a few plays, but that's really the departure, because North Carolina Theater has really been known of doing all musicals. So we like to push it when a play feels right, we're going to do it, like we did this year with Having Our Say. But if it feels right and the size is right and the stories are right, then we'd like to do the musicals. So.
Yeah, in the Fletcher we've had, there's not just plays and musicals, there's plays with music, song cycles, and musicals.
This is true.
And so in the Fletcher, we will have had all of these. Even A Night with Janis Joplin, which we did in there, was really a play with music, because it's speaking directly to the audience the whole time, really. Edges will be a song cycle. That's what we'll be doing next in the Fletcher, which was, of course, most people don't know this work, but it was created by Pasek and Paul, who created
Dear Evan Hansen.
Thank you. La La Land, The Greatest Showman.
That's right.
And Our Big Stars. But this was their early work.
This is before they won the Oscars, before they won the Tony, and so we're thrilled about that.
That's happening in this current season.
In this current season.
And then I just want to throw out, Eric has really thought carefully about why these shows. I realize that, yes, there are more plays with music or musicals, but I think more Eric is thinking thematically. So did you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's been important to me. This season overall has been about different aspects of acceptance and exploring that in many different ways. And so next season, season, we're looking at celebrating the human spirit, celebrating what makes you special. And so it's sing out and soar, you know, and is kind of a catchphrase. But we are celebrating a lot of really well-known figures and well-known stories. And so only one of the shows of the 6 next season has ever been done here before, Peter Pan. But all of the other 5 deal with titles or people that everyone's familiar with. So that was important to us as well, to have that connection, to pull people in, to celebrate what a person is capable of. Because all of these stories are how a person was dealt one hand and dealt with that adversity and moved through it. Even Peter Pan. So, so that's kind of the cohesive nature of next season.
And I think our region especially is in tune with this idea right now. You know, I've noticed there's a kid who's maybe, I think it's America's Got Talent, he plays violin, and he's going, and everyone's following him. You know, he's in the press, we're paying attention to him, we want to see this kid sing out and soar, you know. And it's a loud time right now in the media. And it's a great time to remind us that each of us can have a voice. Mm-hmm. And I've really seen that in the community conversations that people are having. Hey, they have a voice too. Well, hold on, I want to be heard. And that's why I love that you came up with that, and you're very sensitive to, you know, what you're hearing in our region and in our national scene, and then reflecting it in the choices that you've made artistically. So I'm very excited, and our audiences are already going crazy about this season. They're renewing their subscriptions really fast, and they want to buy tickets, and so that means that you have hit that correct place in our zeitgeist, so well done.
Thank you.
And I'm really excited about it.
It's going to be a great season. Looking forward to it. Well, thanks for sitting down with us and telling us about next season, and I'll see you in a few months for the one after that.
Okay.
We look forward to it. Thank you.
All right.